Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the important topic of solutions chapter, that is colligative properties of dilute solutions. Okay. A dilute solution is one in which the amount of solute is very small. The amount of solute is very small in comparison to what? The amount of solvent. In general, binary solution contains what? Binary solution contains one solute and one solvent. Solute plus solvent. Only two components will be there. If two components are present in solution, that solution is called binary solution. Okay. If the amount of solute is smaller than the amount of solvent, the solution is given name as what? Dilute solution. Okay, we are discussing colligative properties of dilute solutions. The dilute solutions show more or less ideal behavior. Very dilute solutions show what? Nearly ideal behavior. Okay, nearly ideal behavior as the heat and volume changes. Delta H mixing and delta V mixing. Delta H mixing and delta V mixing means enthalpy change, that is heat change, and volume change. Okay, so these two accompanying the mixing of solute and solvent means associated with the mixing of solute and solvent or negligible. That means what? Delta H is nearly zero. Delta V also is nearly zero. So delta H mixing, delta V mixing, enthalpy change of mixing and the volume change of mixing. These two will be negligible for all practical purposes. Okay. Dilute solutions obey means follow Raoult's law. The dilute solutions obey what? Raoult's law. Because the dilute solutions behave nearly like what? Ideal solutions. In general, Raoult's law is applicable for ideal solutions. Okay, the dilute solutions will behave nearly like what? Ideal solutions. That's why we can say the Raoult's law is applicable for very dilute solutions and ideal solutions. Okay, next, dilute solutions containing non-volatile solute. The dilute solutions containing non-volatile solute. Non-volatile solute. Here, non-volatile solute example, you can take glucose. Glucose particles in solvent, or we can say sugar. Okay, sucrose. Sugar means common sugar is what? Sucrose. And NaCl. NaCl is what? Sodium chloride. So these all particles are what? Non-volatile solute particles. If you keep sugar on table, on the surface of table, will it be evaporated on its own? No. The sugar will not be evaporated. So it is called what now? Non-volatile solute. If you pour some water drops on the surface of a table, will the water evaporate on its own or not? It will evaporate. We're absorbing heat energy from surroundings. The water evaporates. So water is what now here? Volatile component. Water is volatile component. And glucose particles, non-volatile solute particles. Okay. So what we are taking here? Dilute solutions containing non-volatile solute exhibit. They will show some special properties. This type of dilute solutions containing non-volatile solute particles exhibit some special properties which depend only upon the number of solute particles. Okay, the special properties depend only upon what? The number of solute particles present in the solution, irrespective of what? The nature of solvent. Irrespective of the nature of solute and solvent, okay, the number of solute particles decide the special properties. These special properties are termed as what? Colligative properties. So these special properties which depend on the solute particles, number of solute particles, are termed as colligative properties. So what is the name of these special properties? Colligative properties. So colligative properties depend only upon what? The number of solute particles. The number of solute particles decide what? The colligative properties. And the colligative properties are, different types of colligative properties are, first one, lowering in the vapor pressure. Lowering in the vapor pressure means, we can also say here, relative lowering of vapor pressure. RLVP stands for relative lowering of vapor pressure. What we say? Relative lowering of vapor pressure. Relative lowering of vapor pressure, RLVP we say. Or we say lowering in the vapor pressure. Lowering of vapor pressure. That means if you take pure water, pure solvent, to that pure solvent, when we add some non-volatile solute particles, such as glucose particles, NaCl particles, or urea particles, or sugar particles, when you add any non-volatile particles to the volatile solvent like water, to the water we have added what? Suppose glucose particles. Non-volatile solute is added to water. Initially, the pure water has some vapor pressure. The pure water has some vapor pressure at a given temperature. At the same temperature, the vapor pressure of water, vapor pressure of solvent decreases, lowers when we add non-volatile solute. When we add non-volatile solute particles, what happens now? The vapor pressure of solvent decreases, lowers. That is called lowering in the vapor pressure or relative lowering of vapor pressure. That is first colligative property. And second colligative property is elevation in the boiling point. Elevation in the boiling point. Elevation means increase or decrease? Increase. Elevation meaning what? Increase. So increase in what? Boiling point. Elevation in boiling point. Upward arrow we are taking for increase, downward arrow we take for decrease generally. So here elevation in the boiling point meaning what? Increase in boiling point. Increase in the boiling point. That means what here? Pure water has 100 degrees Celsius as boiling point. The boiling point of pure water, pure solvent is what? Pure solvent is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, that is the boiling point of water. Now, when we add glucose particles or sugar particles, when we add what? Glucose particles or sugar particles, then what happens? Tell me. When we add sugar particles or glucose particles, that is, when we add non-volatile solid particles, what happens is that the boiling point of water increases. That is called elevation in boiling point. What do you mean by elevation? What do you mean by elevation in boiling point here? When non-volatile solid particles are added to the volatile solvent, what happens now? The vapor pressure of that volatile solvent will decrease. Plus, boiling point of water, boiling point of that solvent increases. The boiling point will be elevated for the solvent and low vapor pressure will be lowered for the solvent. So lowering of vapor pressure occurs and elevation in boiling point occurs. That is called elevation in boiling point. So this lowering of vapor pressure and elevation in boiling point. These two properties are colligative properties and they depend only on what? The number of solute particles. Okay. Next, third property is depression in the freezing point. Depression in the freezing point. Depression in the freezing point meaning what here? Depression means decrease or increase? Depression means what? Decrease. Here downward arrow indicating what here? Decrease I'm taking here. So decrease in what? Freezing point. Decrease in freezing point. Initially you take pure solvent water. Pure water as what solvent you take, suppose. What is the freezing point of pure water? 0 degree Celsius. 0 degree Celsius is what? The freezing point of pure solvent water. Now to this pure solvent, we add glucose particles, suppose. When we add glucose particles, means when we add non-volatile solute particles, what happens to the freezing point of the water? The freezing point of water will be depressed. Depressed meaning what here? Lowered. It will be decreased. That means what here? When we add non-volatile solute particles such as glucose particles, urea particles, sucrose particles and NaCl particles, suppose to the water, what happens to the water now here? Which properties will be changed here? The variation of which properties will be taking place? The vapor pressure of pure water decreases on adding non-volatile solute. And boiling point of water increases. And freezing point of water will be depressed. Depressed means decreased. So depression in the freezing point of solvent. Also what? A colligative property. Okay. Next, what is the fourth one here? Osmotic pressure. Fourth one is what here? Osmotic pressure. So fourth colligative property is what? Osmotic pressure. You might have heard and remembered diffusion property. Diffusion property meaning what? The property of gases in which the particles move from higher concentration region to lower concentration region. The particles of gas move from higher concentration region to lower concentration region. That is called diffusion of gases. Graham's law of diffusion of gases we have discussed. Okay. Now here the diffusion is the property from for a movement of the particles of solute from higher concentration region to lower concentration region. Here particles of solute will be moving generally. Gas particles are moving, suppose. Next, if you take osmosis, what is the property here? Osmosis. Osmosis. Osmosis means the movement of the particles, generally solvent particles, the movement of solvent particles from low concentration to high concentration, from lower concentration region to higher concentration region. If the particles of solvent are moving, okay, that phenomena is called osmosis. Osmosis is the phenomena in which the particles of solvent move from lower concentration region to higher concentration region. That is osmosis. Due to osmosis, some pressure is created there. Some pressure is developed due to what? Osmosis phenomena. Okay, so the pressure developed, okay, due to osmosis is called what? Osmotic pressure. How the pressure is developed due to osmosis and all we are going to discuss. But remember that the pressure developed due to the osmosis process is called what? Osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure, depression in freezing point and elevation in boiling point and lowering in the vapor pressure. So these are what now we are colligative properties of dilute solutions. So this part of solutions chapter is what very important to be remembered. So now first one is about lowering of vapor pressure, lowering in the vapor pressure, lowering of relative lowering of vapor pressure of solvent. Remember, relative lowering of vapor pressure of what? Solvent. Why? When we add non-volatile solute, what is happening? The vapor pressure of solvent is lowered. The vapor pressure of solvent is lowered by adding what? Non-volatile solute, right? That's why we say relative lowering of vapor pressure of solvent. First one. Second one, elevation in the boiling point of solvent again. Elevation in the boiling point of solvent. Whose boiling point is elevated here? Solvent boiling point is elevated. By adding what? By adding non-volatile solute particles. And next, third one is what now? Depression in the freezing point. Depression in freezing point of what? Depression in freezing point of solvent. Again, depression in freezing point of solvent you take. Again, whose freezing point is depressed? Whose freezing point is decreased here? Solvent freezing point is decreased here. So that is called depression in the freezing point, okay, of solvent. And next one, osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure of solution, of dilute solution. Remember, osmotic pressure of what? Solution. Okay, so solution is nothing but here solvent plus solute, solute plus solvent. Is that clear, no? So when we add non-volatile solute to the solvent to get a solution, okay, so there will be osmotic pressure for that solution. That osmotic pressure is developed due to what? Due to which phenomena? Due to osmosis process. Due to osmosis, the pressure developed is called what? Osmotic pressure. And this osmotic pressure is what? Colligative property. And osmotic pressure of solution here. So the osmotic pressure of solution is directly proportional to what? Number of solute particles in the solution. If more number of solute particles are there, more osmotic pressure will be developed. That point keep in mind. And here see, lowering in the vapor pressure, suppose. Lowering in the vapor pressure of solvent, suppose. In this case now here, when we add non-volatile solute to the volatile solvent, what is happening there? The vapor pressure of volatile solvent will be lowered, will be decreased. Now, the solution is formed. After adding non-volatile solute, solution is formed. The solution will have some vapor pressure. That is vapor pressure of solution formed. And initially, the pure water was taken. The pure water also has some vapor pressure called vapor pressure of pure solvent water. After adding non-volatile solute, we got solution. That solution has some vapor pressure. Now, which pressure will be less and which pressure will be more? Which vapor pressure will be greater here? The solvent has greater vapor pressure, or solution formed has greater vapor pressure. The solvent has greater vapor pressure. By lowering is going on, lowering means decreasing. So initially pure solvent has more vapor pressure. Finally, the solution formed has less vapor pressure. This is called lowering of vapor pressure. Now, whose vapor pressure minus whose vapor pressure is equal to lowering in vapor pressure here? Solvent minus solution, or solution minus solvent. What we have take? Solvent minus solution. Solvent minus solution. Okay, so solvent vapor pressure minus solution vapor pressure is equal to what? Lowering in the vapor pressure. What is that now? Lowering in the vapor pressure. Is that clear? So how to say lowering in the vapor pressure? Solvent vapor pressure minus solution vapor pressure. The point we are going to discuss. Okay, so like that. And this lowering in vapor pressure is directly proportional to what? Number of solute particles. Each colligative property here is directly proportional to the number of solute particles. More the number of solute particles present, more is the lowering in vapor pressure. Greater will be lowering of vapor pressure. And more the number of solute particles, more will be elevation in boiling point. That means boiling point is elevated to greater extent if number of solute particles is greater. Similarly, depression in freezing point will be greater. The depression will be greater. The decrease will be greater in the freezing point if number of solute particles are greater. If the number of solute particles is greater, like this. And osmotic pressure of solution. Osmotic pressure of solution is also colligative property. So it is also directly depending on what number of solute particles. So more the number of solute particles, more will be osmotic pressure. Is that clear, ma? So it's about what now here different types of colligative properties. Okay. Next one's here. Colligative properties are the properties of dilute solutions. That is why these are termed as colligative properties of dilute solutions. We discuss the properties about what dilute solutions. Why we are taking only dilute solutions? Why not concentrated solution here? Because the dilute solutions contain very small quantity of solute and large quantity of solvent. Therefore, it behaves nearly like ideal solution. That's why Raoult's law can be applied here. As Raoult's law can be applied to dilute solutions, we study about colligative properties of dilute solutions. And these properties, colligative properties, are related to one another. They are related to one another. One colligative property is related to the other. Thus, if one is measured, one colligative property is measured, suppose, the other can be calculated. If one colligative property is calculated, the other colligative property can be measured. Is that clear, ma? So rather all the four colligative properties are interlinked. Okay. And also the importance of colligative properties lies in the fact that they provide methods for the determination of molecular masses of dissolved solute. The molecular masses of solutes can be calculated by using what? Colligative properties. By using these colligative properties, what can be measured here? The gram molecular weight, the gram molecular masses of solute particles can be measured. Suppose you don't know which solute is dissolved in the given solvent. In the given dilute solution, which solute is present, we don't know, suppose. By using colligative properties concept, we can measure the gram molecular weight of the solute particles. When you measure the gram molecular weight of solute, we can say which compound it is. Like that, generally these methods are used to measure what? To determine what? The molecular masses of dissolved solutes. And the results means what? The results of determination of molecular masses. The results of determination of molecular masses are excellent if the following three conditions are satisfied. If the three conditions are followed, in that condition, the results of determination of measurement of gram molecular mass of solute. Okay, the results of determination of gram molecular weight of solid particles can be possible. Okay, the results will be excellent if the following three conditions are satisfied. The first condition is what here? The solution should be very dilute. The solution must be very dilute. Then only it will be applicable. Means what? We can determine the gram molecular weight of what? The solute. Because very dilute solutions behave nearly like ideal behavior, ideal solutions. That's why the solution should be very dilute in nature. And second condition is what? The solute should be non-volatile. If the solute added to the water, if the solute added to the volatile solvent is non-volatile in nature, suppose if the solute is non-volatile in nature, in that condition, the colligative properties can be applied to the dilute solutions. Okay. So first condition is what? The solution under study should be very dilute. Okay. Second one is what? The solute should be non-volatile. Then only the gram molecular weight of solute can be easily determined. And third condition, you check it here. The solute does not dissociate or associate in solution. The solute should not be dissociated, should not be associated. Suppose you take NaCl, NaCl in water, in H2O, NaCl will dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus. But glucose, if you take glucose particle, no dissociation. Here glucose will remain glucose only. Glucose formula C6H12O6. This glucose remains what? Again glucose only. It will not dissociate into cation and anion. Okay. So one particle of glucose remains one particle here. But NaCl, one particle of NaCl. One particle of NaCl is dissociated into how many particles here? Two particles. How many particles? Two particles are produced here. So two particles are produced from one particle in case of NaCl. But in case of glucose, one particle remains what? One particle. Here no association, no dissociation in case of a glucose. So the solute does not, when solute does not dissociate or associate in the solution, we can easily determine what? The gram molecular weight of solute. Okay. So the application, one of the important applications of colligative properties, what? The study of colligative properties will give the idea to determine the gram molecular weight of solute. When we can easily calculate, when the determination of solute will be easy, when the determination of solute is excellent, if three conditions are followed. What are the three conditions? The solution should be very dilute so that it can behave as ideal solution and follows what? Raoult's law. And second condition is the solute should be a non-volatile solute so that the solute will not be evaporated, whereas the solvent only evaporates. Okay. And third condition is what here? The solute does not dissociate or associate in solution. When the solute does not dissociate in the solution or does not associate in the solution, we can apply what? Colligative properties to determine what? Gram molecular weight of solute. Okay. Now tell me, the results will be excellent when you determine the gram molecular weight of glucose or gram molecular weight of NaCl. Whose gram molecular weight will be calculated accurately? Glucose gram molecular weight we can calculate easily. Why glucose gram molecular weight easily can be calculated? Because the glucose does not dissociate or associate in solution. Okay, but NaCl is undergoing dissociation in solution. So it is difficult to determine exactly the gram molecular weight of NaCl. Next, if you take one more compound like benzoic acid, C6H5COOH, benzoic acid. What is the name of this? Benzoic acid. Suppose two molecules of benzoic acid we have taken. How many molecules of benzoic acid? Two molecules of benzoic acid in benzene. In which solvent here? Benzene. Benzene is solvent. Here what is solvent taken? NaCl in water we have taken. NaCl solute in water is dissociated into ions. Here two molecules of benzoic acid in benzene solvent will undergo dimerization. Dimerization means what? Two molecules of benzoic acid associate to form the compound like this. C6H5 COOH taken twice. It is one particle. This is a single particle produced here. But how many particles associated? Two particles associated. Two molecules meaning what? Two particles associated in benzene to form a single particle. This process is called what now? This phenomena is called dimerization. What is called? Dimerization. Here, this particle, one particle is called what? Dimer. Dimer. Di means two. MER, mer refers to what? Molecule. So how many molecules associated here? Two molecules associated to give a single particle. That's why it is called what now here? Dimerization. This phenomenon is called dimerization. And is it association or dissociation? Association. What is going on here? Dimerization is an example of what? Association. Okay. So here, now can you determine the gram molecular weight of benzoic acid easily? Is it accurate or not accurate? It cannot be accurate. Why? This benzoic acid solute, the benzoic acid solute in benzene solvent is undergoing what? Association. But condition is what here to determine gram molecular weight accurately? The condition is that the solute should neither dissociate nor associate in solvent. But here benzoic acid is undergoing association in benzene, whereas NaCl is undergoing dissociation in water. So in solvent, they are undergoing either dissociation or association. That's why it is difficult to determine the gram molecular weight of solute, okay, accurately. And the result will not be excellent in this case. But in case of glucose, the results of determination of gram molecular weight will be accurate. In case of glucose, urea, sucrose. Sucrose means sugar. Urea formula what? Tell me what are the compounds here? Glucose, we know. Glucose formula C6H12O6. Then urea. Urea formula NH2 bond CO bond NH2. NH2 bond CO bond NH2. Where NH2 is what? Amino group. Amino group. CO bond is ketone group. Ketone functional group is what? Bond CO bond. NH2 bond NH2 group is called amino group. Okay. This is urea here. Urea gram molecular weight how much? 60. Gram molecular weight of urea how much? 60. If you calculate the gram molecular weight, it will be 60. Urea gram molecular weight 180 gram per mole. Like that. Sucrose. Sucrose is nothing but sugar, na? Sucrose is nothing but sugar. The sucrose formula was C12H22O11. So these three particles, sucrose, urea, glucose, okay, will neither dissociate nor associate in solvent. That's why in case of these solute particles, the determination of gram molecular weight will be excellent. The results will be excellent. We get accurate gram molecular weights. But in case of what? Benzoic acid in benzene, NaCl in water, in these cases, either association or dissociation going on. Na? That's why the results will not be accurate to determine what? Gram molecular weight. Okay, is the point clear so far? So next one is about now lowering in the vapor pressure. Lowering in vapor pressure. So this topic we are going to discuss in the next coming up class. Okay, bye. Good evening.